Hello, guys. This is the weekly recap or the daily recap for commodities. I just finished doing the uranium weekly recap, looking at what happened. It was a week with big swings, and yeah, I think you should definitely go on and look at that. I think we are at some very pivotal points in time, waiting for the breakout again. I've said that many times, waiting for the breakout, waiting for the breakout. But when it happens, I will let you know right away. Again, thank you everyone for supporting me. Very happy with every single follower that I get. And as always, in the comments below, give me the good and the bad. Let me see what happens, what you're thinking. And enough said. Let's get to the charts. Silver, we will do mostly on a weekly basis. Some will be done on the daily, but still mostly we will keep to the weekly. Nothing major has happened. A small down week, as you can see right here. We had this major up week uh, early July, and now we're just having some small red candles. That's totally fine. Taking a pause still. To me, silver will break out above the big $26 within September, before September, or during September it could be, but still. I just want to show you a long-term fractal that I did very quickly. To me, this is where we are. This move up here from 2010 to 11, this cluster right here, as you can see, we are in a similar place again right here. This to me is this exactly. We're just right below the breakout. So when we break out, it will be one swift move to 50 with almost no pullbacks at all. And then we are at the big cup and handle neckline, you can say, but if you want to call it, then we will get a pushback or a pullback, then we will go again. It's looking good. Just give it some time. Yeah, silver, not much to say. Gold still looking very beautifully. We are very close to the all-time highs. We are roughly $100 away, so 5% more or less below all-time highs. Nothing more to add in my view. I mean, in my view, gold will go higher again in September, maybe August. We're still grinding higher right now. As you can see here, we had a big pushback, and now we're getting a small pushback, and then we go. That's how I see it anyways. And we are above major long-term 200 weekly moving average. So yeah, in my view, it will keep grinding higher. The gold to silver ratio are at a very interesting level. I posted a video 2 days ago, that we are almost breaking down, or we are breaking down. Then 3 hours later, I think, came the news that the GDP in the US was growing more than expected. So we had a big update for gold, for the dollar, and that caused gold and silver to dump pretty heavily. And this is the spike you can see right here on the daily. But again, long term to me, we are at the fifth touch right now for this long orange or golden trend line coming up here. And let me just mark this bigger so you can see the expanding formation, what we're looking at. Massive head and shoulders all over. And as you can see, we had a big move up here, smaller move, and I think we will just have a small, tiny last kind of breath, given, the GDP numbers gave it the last hope, you can say, to negate this trend line here. But I think inevitably it will go down. If we have had, the GDP numbers coming out right on target, it would have been looked quite differently right here. We would have been below the golden trend line. So it is what it is. You cannot chart, such surprises in the data. Still, it will break down at some point in time. That's my absolutely conviction to the charts. The Dixie weekly having broken down from some major long-term trend lines. We have the big For some reason, it's gone here. You can see a big breakdown here, and then we have some green candles all the way up here. To me, we are just retesting this red bull run, the red trend line right here. Again, I would like to get below the 100.8 very quickly. But yeah, it seemed like, this week the dollar gained a lot of strength and could be into maybe some false breakout here to the downside, as you can see right there, false breakout. Hopefully it's not, because if it is, then we will go a lot higher in the shorter term, and it will delay a lot of gold and silver, the bullish setup that gold and silver has. But let's wait and see what happens here. Still long term, I think the dollar is going down, way down, but yeah, it takes some time. The 10-year yield, I would like to show you that we had a breakout retest and now we're resuming up again. That's also why I think the dollar has gotten some strength, because they are usually very much related to each other. So still looking bullish here, but it needs to gain some more traction, and the bull flag needs to hold here on the upper. Let's go to the Bitcoin to the daily, because I think there's more happening on the daily compared to the weekly. This one right here was the breakdown of this bear flag right here. You can see it there. And now we're grinding higher again into what looks like another, slight uptick before we break down. I think we'll go down to the 28,000s. To the green long term, you can see here, the green long term. I think we'll go down and kiss it here, and then we'll see what happens. Does it hold or does it break down? So Bitcoin is not doing much right now. Similar to many other things, actually. Going back to the weekly, for palladium, still, as you know, I have this count here, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I do think that we can, starting to base out here, breaking out and then base out for palladium. Long term, look at where we are. Again, the long term support coming in right around 1150. So still some time, or a few dollars down to that mark, but still at some point in time, the palladium will be, in my view, due for a big bounce up. And that's where you can have a good trade in palladium. Platinum, you can see the last drawings that I did. I thought this would be a bull flag and then a breakout. Obviously, again, the Tuesday or Thursday news regarding the GDP absolutely killed platinum. And what was luckily is that right now we are holding, you can see here, we're holding this one. So for now, it's okay. We really don't want to see a lower low below this one here. We really want to have this to stay this low, to be as high as possible so that the momentum is intact. So yeah, platinum still needs to get its ass going to the upside. And yeah, nothing has happened for like 3 years. Boring. But it's still my conviction that long-term platinum is going way higher, above all-time highs. So let's remove the arrows here. These were done for a chart. Copper looks beautiful. Still in a 18 months long. You can see it there. And then the bottom here. Oh, that was beautiful. Just waiting to see if we can break above the magic 4. As you know, the 4 is the big number to get above for copper. We are at massive resistance right now with the downtrend channels here. You can see the golden ones, but also the magic 4.0 roughly. So yeah, we need to break above here for any bullish. Yeah, and obviously we can also break down quite. It sounds stupid, right? But this is really where we are. We're getting into the apex, so we have to decide a direction, up or down. So yeah, we will follow copper for sure, because I think copper will be the overall. If copper breaks out, I think then everyone else will break out as well. That's how I say it. Speaking of breaking out, oil looking good. The USD WTI looking very good here. Many tests here at the long-term golden trend line coming from all the way back to 2008. And it held, and now we're breaking above this one, coming down here, looking good. I would think that if we go to the daily, you can see the RSI is very much overbought, but that's okay for now. We are getting pretty nicely above the 200 moving average as well. But I do think, given that we are in the blue wedge here, I do think that we could go all the way up to 82, my big 82 level, before we have some sort of pause where we can actually pull back below the 80s. And see, maybe we will probably get a full retest right at 75, more or less. But oil is really making a good stand here. This was a 50% drop, so that makes sense to turn around at the 50%. So that's quite nice. Gas here, not doing much. Still, we broke out of the bull flag here and a retest. Now we are resuming up here, trying to take out this golden trend line here. If we do, which I think we will, then we will go all the way up here to 3.5. And then we will see what happens. But that gas is trying to make a big bottom here. And as you know, within a few months' time, Europe will be heading into winter. And we only need an early winter or a decent cold snap, and then gas again will spike because we cannot refill the stock that quickly that we want to. Similar here to the Dutch natural gas. Again, we are at the long-term golden trend line, which is fine, and we are holding above a bit of a nasty weekly reversal here. Anyways, it doesn't matter as long as we are above 24, more or less. It's all fine for nat gas. XOP looking, excuse me, fantastic. Long term, you have it here, seen it many times on the channel. Big inverted head and shoulders in my view, the blue neckline. And ever since we have broken this smaller internal golden trend line here, it has been a one-way street, and I think we'll go all the way up to roughly 150 before we pull back again for just like on gold, we have the 1, 2, 3 small pullback, and then boom, the fourth touch we will break through. Looks absolutely, yeah, fantastic for XOP. Nothing much to add there. OIH, similar, the oil services peaking above this red box here. Very bullish. Again, looking at the long term, just have a look at this bad boy here. Here it is, all the way down. And then we are breaking out, retest, 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 and now we are breaking above the highs of the retest or the breakout highs. So OIH looking good, to be honest. I think the daily is very much overbought. I think, yeah, they are, but so we could get a pullback here on the daily, but yeah, still fine long term. You can see finally the 200 moving average is coming to curl back up again after I don't know, after 8 years of downtrend. That speaks something, right? Lithium weekly. You can see it right here. Breakout retest, beautifully, boom, retest. I bought the breakout here, and now we're retesting. So now we hopefully are going higher. This is a beautiful chart. It really is. If we can get the textbook breakout retest resumption for lithium, fantastic. XLF, the banking sector or the financial sector, had what we talked about, this one here coming all the way down, started to peak above here, and now we are losing momentum once again. If this is a fake out, you better look out to the downside. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. If this is a fake out, it still has some chances to stay here and curl further higher. But if this is a fake out, which it might as well could be, then we can go down by a decent amount for the banking sector. A currency pair, the USD Swiss franc, which is, if you're into gold, this is the one you need to look at because this is highly related. If you invert the charts, the correlation between the two are very high. And we have broken down from this long-term bear flag. You have it here very quickly. There it is. Long-term bear flag breaking down. Obviously, let's go to the daily quickly here. We had this was Tuesday, big pop here. So back into the bear flag. But still, as long as we are below the long-term bear flag here, the lower trend line, it's all good for gold. Gold. Okay, Nvidia, going to the daily just to show the more shorter time frames. We have the elliott wave here in my view, and I think, again, as mentioned, that we are going to curl down and close this gap. We're at least going to the upper side of the gap here at the trend line bottom, or the triangle bottom, excuse me. But it's struggling here, I think. But again, in these situations where you have AI that is just blasting through, with the pump and with the bullishness, this can easily break higher. But this, to me, in every case, I would say is bearish. But yeah, this one I am very fond of, which I also have mentioned on Twitter, which is the Brazilian ETF. What we got this week, or was it last week? I can't remember. Last week we got a breakout of this long-term, 20-year long downtrend. And now this week we have a spinning top, which is not ideal. So I'm just waiting to see what happens right here, right now. I think we'll get a retest and then we will go higher. And then depending on how it looks, I will buy this one. Mainly because it has huge upside. Just look at this one. Just look at this is very bullish. If we can get some momentum here, we have huge upside. Also meaning that if emerging markets like Brazil is going into a bull market, that's often where the dollar goes into a bear market, or going down at least. So, but anyways, the upside is tremendous. Also, if you look at the dividends, 8%. If you hold that for 5 years, and this is true, then you can have let's see, how much could you have here? You could have easily 100% plus the dividend for 5 years. What's not to like? Nickel, again, same answer, very boring. We are still at this long-term golden trend line here. Nothing much has happened because we cannot seem to break out to the upside. But we're still holding. So the bulls and the bears are fighting right now. And who will win? We'll have to wait and see. Still, the double bottom is very much in place. So let's see what happens. SIL, I will look at this formation right here. I thought this was a big, you can call it a cup and handle. You can also call it an inverted head and shoulders right here. But we did make the lower low here compared to here, which is not ideal. Going to the daily, however, hopefully this will be the turning point. Again, inverted head and shoulders. We have the big elliott wave count here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So hopefully this will be 1, 2, 3, and then we go higher, right? Hopefully will be the case. We could just save it and leave it here, but we need to get above 28 roughly before we can have some hope in the silver miners, because they are hated big time, and yeah, it's not looking good right now. I want to show you the GDX, the gold miners. We are at this white long-term critical support and resistance line. You can see it all the way across, right? The 36.5 level is very big. And what's happening right now is that we are just, again, sitting here. And yeah, if it flips below again, then you get more momentum to the downside. But we need to hold here and curl back up again. And I think that will happen if my take is that gold and silver within 8 weeks will go, will do the breakouts, then this will follow through as well. That's all I had for today. Many charts. I haven't. It's been like 3 or 4 days since I did the latest recap, so I had a lot to cover. As always, leave the comments below, good and bad. I'll take it all. And again, I hope you liked it. If you do, give me that thumbs up and have an amazing weekend. Cheers.